Hello, everyone. Good morning, guys. I've just started a meeting couple of minutes early. We'll wait until 6:02 or 6:03, guys, and then we get started with the session. We'll wait for 30 more seconds, guys. Okay, let's get started, guys. First of all, a warm welcome to OIC training by UnoGeeks, guys. It's a first session for your batch today, and I'll start with my introduction. This is Prasad. I have almost 20 years of experience in integration space, almost 10 years in OIC, 9 to 10 years in OIC. In fact, I've been using it from day one Oracle released it. And I did almost like 10 to 12 Fusion Cloud implementation projects as an integration specialist, building integrations, VBCS and PCS applications in OIC for a pretty complex real-time implementation projects. And I do have a pretty good exposure to other integration products in the market like MuleSoft or Delboomi or Sova. I did spend good amount of time in the past with those integration products. And all the use cases that I'm going to cover as part of the training sessions whether it is 15 integrations, 5 EBCS or 5 PCS applications we build, they are all the real-time scenarios that I've built and delivered for actual end clients. And I do have pretty good exposure as a trainer. I delivered 100 plus batches for OIC alone. That includes both regular as well as corporate trainings. Now, this is what I have an agenda for today, guys. And before I walk you through the agenda, one important point I want to clarify. So when you join a training sessions, you will be put on mute by default, guys, and that is done only to avoid the background noise. So please don't think that you cannot ask the questions. You just have to listen and go away. Definitely not the intention. At any point in time in the sessions, if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. I'll take the question, and after that, you can go back on mute. But please note that the first 2 demo sessions, guys, today and tomorrow, since we try to cover a little bit more content than what we usually do in a 1-hour training session, it would be difficult to keep them interactive. But from day 3 onwards, we would definitely do it. I can take questions during the session as well. And also at any point in time during the session, if you think I'm going too fast or too slow, do let me know, guys. I'm open to adjust my pace. Okay. And this is what I have an agenda for today, guys. First 15 minutes today, I'll talk about, I'll not directly start off with what exactly OIC is and what components you have within it. Before you learn anything, you should know why you have to learn it, right? So why do we need a product like OIC in first place? And what are the integration challenges that we have in today's world? We are in 2025 August, right? So what are the integration challenges that we have in today's world that you and me have to deal with as an integration specialist? Now that you have cloud everywhere, you need to understand them very well. And also you need to understand how OIC as a premier integration product helps you to resolve those challenges or achieve those challenges or overcome those challenges, basically. And then what I would also do is, so this would take roughly 15 minutes. Then I'll take you to OIC instance and we'll take a real-time integration use case. And I want to show you, I'll spend around 30-35 minutes in OIC instance itself to show you how easy it is to build integrations in OIC, because I want all of you, my intention is not to show you how to build integration on day one or day 1 demo session, but the intention behind spending 30 minutes in OIC instance is to let everybody understand and realize that building integrations in OIC, in fact, is quite an easy thing to do. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Why do we need a product like OIC, guys, in first place? If you look at the IT landscape of companies, maybe 10 years back or 5 years back, all the applications that clients used to have, they used to be on-prem applications, guys. Okay, they used to be on-prem applications. Now, what does on-prem application means? Say, for example, assume that we are doing an implementation project for a client called Emerson. Okay, so Emerson is a US-based manufacturing firm. And let's assume that we are doing an implementation for them. And if Emerson is implementing an ERP product 5 years ago, what is it that they would do, guys? And they need to implement Oracle ERP product 5 years ago. At that point in time, all the ERP products were on-premise. So what Emerson had to do, they would spend quite an amount upfront. They have to do a lot of capital expenditure, buy the required servers from Oracle. And these servers include the application server and the database servers. And as soon as you receive the application and database servers from Oracle, Emerson would install them on-premise. And they had to onboard an Oracle Apps DBA team to install this Oracle e-business suite application on those on-prem servers. And once the installation is done, remember the maintenance of the EBS application is also the headache of Emerson, because this application is running on the servers installed on premise. So Emerson is responsible for the maintenance part as well. So if you think about all these points as a client, guys, it would be quite irritating, isn't it? Because I'm spending quite a bit of amount upfront. I'm doing a lot of capital expenditure upfront. And I also had to maintain a team to look after the application. And I also need to, I'm directly responsible for maintenance of my application. So despite spending a lot of money, time and effort, I'm still, I need to spend all of this to manage my applications, apart from focusing on my core manufacturing business, right? So that is exactly where cloud applications started coming into market today. So this was the case 5 years back. So any client who wants to implement ERP products, they used to be on-prem products, and this is exactly what they used to do. Buy the servers, install them on-premise, have a database administration teams to install the application on those servers, and they're responsible for installation, maintenance, upgrading, patching, everything, basically. But today, you have all the cloud applications. Remember, guys, nobody believed that cloud would be so big that it is today. When Salesforce started offering a first product in 2009, nobody believed in it, guys. But if you look at IT landscape of any company today, guys, not 99, guys, 100% of them have hybrid IT landscape. Meaning, a typical client might be using a Salesforce to manage their customers, and they might be using ADP to run a payroll, and they might also be using couple of applications from Oracle Cloud, like Oracle HCM Cloud or Oracle ERP Cloud or Oracle SCM Cloud. And at the same time, they might also be using a few on-prem products as well, like Oracle E-Business Suite and JD Edwards. Maybe Emerson might be running SCM modules here, and they might have implemented HCM and finance modules in Oracle Cloud. Now, first of all, why is it that plenty of clients have adopted cloud today? Has it been such a success? Because with the cloud applications, if we go back to the same example, guys, let's say Emerson has to implement an ERP product, and nobody would do an on-prem implementation today. Now, Emerson would go to Oracle and say, boss, I want to implement your HCM cloud product or a financials. Okay, Emerson would go to Oracle and say, I want to use your Oracle HCM cloud or Oracle financials cloud product. What would Oracle do, guys? So Emerson wants to implement Oracle Fusion ERP Cloud, Finance and SCM modules, or Finance and HCM modules, let's say. Now, what Oracle would do, Oracle has data centers all around the globe. In fact, it has a data center even in Hyderabad also. And Oracle would go to data center closest to Emerson location, guys. And let's say Emerson is based out of Chicago, it would go to a Chicago location or data center. And what exactly data centers mean? You have thousands of servers wired up, and all the setup is in place. And Oracle would go to on such data centers, and on one of the machines or one of the servers, Oracle would install that Fusion application in cloud in one of those data center servers. And Oracle would share the URL with Emerson. Saying that, boss, this is a URL you have to use Oracle ERP Cloud application. So how would that work, guys? How would that work? This is how the URL would look like. Let me show it to you from a login page itself. Okay, so you would receive a URL like this. You would receive a URL like this from Oracle. If you are from Emerson, you receive a URL like this. And the moment you access a Fusion Cloud application through the URL, you will be prompted to sign in. And of course, Oracle would share one admin login credential so that Emerson can get into Fusion Cloud application. And when they try to access the instance URL, they will be prompted to enter the username and password and they sign into it. The moment you sign in, assume that Emerson is doing it. And what is Emerson trying to access here? They are trying to access Oracle Fusion applications running in cloud. And what exactly we mean by cloud here, guys? It is an application that is installed and running on one of the servers in the data center of Oracle. And remember, guys, Oracle would be using this Fusion Cloud application as a software as a service product. Emerson is going to use this product as a software as a service. They use it for a month, and at the month end, Oracle is going to send a bill to Emerson saying that this is for the usage of this Fusion Cloud application. And depending on the user's configured, they receive a bill, and Emerson would just make a payment to Oracle as if you do a broadband bill payment or a mobile bill payment. But tell me one thing, guys, whatever problems that we discussed with on-prem, do they hold it good with cloud, guys? Do we have to do a capital expenditure here? I don't have to, right? I don't need to buy the servers because this application is going to run in Oracle data center, not on my servers. And do I need to maintain a team to look after the application? Absolutely not required. Because installing this application in cloud, upgrading it every quarter, patching it, keeping it up and running 24/7, it is all a headache of Oracle. I don't have to really care and I can focus on my business. And also it comes at a fraction of a cost that on-prem applications would have done for Emerson. Okay, no capital expenditure, only operational expenditure, and that too very, very less when compared to on-prem. And I don't need to maintain it. Okay, and also we can just use this application, access the software as a service, use it at the month and you pay the bill to Oracle. So these are all the advantages of cloud applications, guys. Not just these, there are plenty of other applications as well, because of which not just Emerson, 100% of the clients that we have today in the market, they have hybrid IT landscape. What does it mean to you and me? Why should we discuss IT landscape first of all? Because as an integration specialist in August 2025, we have to deal with three key integration challenges, guys. You need to know how to integrate one Oracle Cloud application with another Oracle Cloud application. That's challenge one. So you need to know how to integrate Oracle HCM Cloud with ERP Cloud or HCM with SCM Cloud and so on. That's challenge one. Challenge two, how do you integrate Oracle Cloud application, be it HCM or ERP, with non-Oracle Cloud applications like ADP and Salesforce? So you might have to integrate HCM with ADP, or you might have to implement ERP Cloud or financials with Salesforce. Okay, that's challenge two. How do you integrate Oracle Cloud with non-Oracle Cloud applications? And integration challenge three, how do you integrate cloud applications with on-prem applications? And it could be non-Oracle or it could be Oracle Clouds, doesn't matter. But how do you integrate cloud applications with on-prem applications? And that is where something called as a connectivity agent comes up in OIC. So these are the three key integration challenges that we have to deal with, guys. And fortunately, OIC has an easy answer for all these three. And I've listed down those challenges here. Building integrations legacy style is too complex. And there's no easy way to move the data from cloud to on-premise or vice versa in other integration products. And in other integration products, we don't even have an option to do a process automation and call it from integration. But we have such option in OIC. And you can ignore the analytics part. Now, before I talk about how OIC solves these challenges, guys, And I hate PPTs, guys. Yes, when we send out onboarding email to most of you, so most of you have made a fee payment and we have already sent out onboarding emails, guys. And in that onboarding email, if you click on the PPTs link, that would take you to a folder. And in that folder, you will be able to see all this material that you're seeing on screen. You would see all these files. Please note that this material, the materials that you're seeing on screen, PPTs or supporting notes or request or response payloads, they are for your reference. I would be spending 90% of the time within the OIC instance itself. Hardly I'll use a PPT for maximum 5 to 10 minutes to explain the use case, And as soon as the context is set, we would go to OIC and we'll be building an integration there to achieve that use case. Now, what I want to do is I will take a real-time use case and I'll spend the next 30 minutes. in OIC instance. And I want to show you how easy it is to build integration in OIC. Remember, OIC follows a zero code approach. It follows a configuration-based approach. And I want all of you to understand what this approach means hands-on. Okay, so let's take a real use case and see how easily it can be done. Assume that we go back to the same use case, guys, same use case Emerson. And let's assume that Emerson is using Salesforce as their main CRM system. And just in case anybody is hearing Salesforce for the first time, guys, it is a #1 CRM system you have in the world, customer relationship management system. So what Emerson would do, guys, whenever they get a new customer, they log into Salesforce and create a customer there. And I did already log into Salesforce here. Otherwise, let me show it to you from a login page. So what would Emerson do whenever they get a new customer? They would log into Salesforce. Click on App Launcher, go to Sales Cloud. And whenever they get a new customer, they would go into Sales Cloud and they'll be creating a new customer from here. Okay. Now, as soon and after Emerson enters the customer details here, let's say they are creating a customer as John Doe. And they would enter all the customer details, including the address details, and they would hit the save button. As soon as they enter the customer details and hit the save button, what exactly do you want to see? Emerson wants to, after the customer is created in Salesforce, remember a customer would have, John would have bought some goods or service from Emerson, and Emerson wants to invoice him. Emerson wants to create an AR invoice against John Doe. And let's assume that a client is using Oracle Fusion Cloud for finance modules. Okay, so let's assume that Emerson has implemented finance modules in Fusion Cloud application. So they would come in here and they would search for receivables group here. Remember, guys, when you log into Fusion Cloud application, this is exactly how the pages would look like. Completely different from EBS forms and all that. In case you're coming in with that background, this is how the user interface would look like. And in one of the future sessions, I'll talk about the navigation in the application to make you comfortable. But for now, what I do was I'll just go into the receivables group here. And I have an option to create an AR invoice from here. So the point is, yes, John Doe is a new customer of Emerson, and a customer is created in ERP Cloud, and now Emerson wants to invoice that customer. And to invoice the customer, Emerson would come into Fusion Cloud application, they go to receivables, and they open up AR invoice screen, and they start creating an AR invoice. Now tell me one thing, guys, can we create an invoice without a customer, guys? Yes or no, please? Can we create an invoice without a customer? Is it a mandatory field?
No.
It is a mandatory field, right? You cannot create an invoice without a customer for sure. And let's say you are an end user, and assume that you created a customer in Salesforce. Let's say I come to you and say, boss, you have done a good job, but you need to do one more thing. You need to create a customer again in ERP Cloud, and then create an invoice. Would you be happy with it, guys? Like repeating the same task in multiple applications. You already created customer here. Now, before you create an invoice, I ask you to create a customer again in ERP Cloud so that you can invoice him. You will definitely not be happy with it, right? You say, Prasad, what's going on? I already created a customer here. And you might even raise your voice and say, boss, I don't know what you do. Assume that you are an Emerson user. And you would say, boss, I don't know what you do. I will enter the customer details here in Salesforce. This is our CRM system. I'll enter the customer details here and I'll hit the save button. And I don't really care what you do. I want this customer to be showing up in the customer dropdown in ERP Cloud so that I can invoice the customer. And two important considerations there. There should be no time gap. And there should be no manual intervention whatsoever. Okay, so we need to integrate Salesforce with ERP. Whenever a customer is created in Salesforce, same customer should be created in ERP Cloud, no time gap and no manual intervention. Now let's see, we're not going to create this integration from scratch today, but if this is a use case that you have to achieve, what is the approach that you follow in OIC? I'll be giving you a high-level overview of that. So when can we achieve this use case in OIC? Quite easily you can do it. Now let me show you how an OIC instance looks like. So I've logged into OIC instance here. And this is an OIC Gen 3 instance that we will be using in our training sessions. It is OIC Gen 3 instance that we will be using, which is the latest version in the market today. Remember, guys, the old version is called as Gen 2. It is outdated, phased out as well. So this is Gen 3, and this is exactly what we use in the sessions. Now, what exactly would you do, guys? If you are an integration specialist working for Emerson, and this is a use case you need to achieve. The first thing that I do is I log into OIC instance, click on the menu option here. And what are the things that we can do in OIC, guys? As you can make out from the name, it stands for Oracle Integration Cloud, which means in OIC instance, you can build a wide variety of integrations. And with these integrations, you can make one system to talk to any other system under the sun. Be it Oracle, non-Oracle, cloud, on-premise, doesn't matter. You can make one system to talk to any other system. And not just that, guys, in OIC, you do have, apart from integrations, you can also build a VBCS applications, Visual Builder Cloud Service, and this would help you to build custom web or mobile applications that your clients need. Say, for example, if your client needs a custom expense report application or a travel request app, you can log into VBCS and create those required custom screens or user interfaces there. And after you build that application, employees of Emerson would log into that application and submit a travel request or expense report. Now tell me one thing, guys, when you submit an expense report in your company, does it go through approval, guys, or does it get approved automatically? We wish they get approved automatically, right? But unfortunately, they go to the manager first. So how do we create an approvals to support those custom VBCS applications that are created? That is exactly where PCS comes into picture. So whatever custom applications that you create in VBCS, remember all the applications, or at least 99% of them that you build in VBCS, whether it is sitting in cloud, whether it is any custom application, doesn't matter. Most of them need approvals, whether it is an expense report or a travel or AR invoice, they have to go through approvals, and that is where PCS comes in. And in PCS, you can build a complex multi-layer approval flows. And after approvals are obtained, we can in fact call an integration from it. Please note that as part of the course, we will be covering all three bits: integration, VBCS, PCS. We will build 15 integrations, 5 VBCS applications, and 5 PCS applications. And in fact, one of them will be the complete end-to-end solution. Like I'll show you how to build a complex web app in VBCS, kick off a multi-layer approval process from it, and after approvals are obtained, I'll show you how to invoke an integration and send the data to Fusion Cloud. So that way, by the time you complete the course, you will not only master the individual cloud services like integrations, VBCS, and PCS, but you will also know very well how to use them together to build custom complex end-to-end flows. And that's what makes OIC a premier integration product. Now you go to integrations, and before you create an integration for this use case, okay, so the moment you hit the save button, the customer should be created in ERP Cloud. To achieve this use case, you don't start building an integration directly. Instead, you need to establish connectivity from OIC with a source application with Salesforce. And you also need to establish connectivity from OIC with a target system. Okay, so your job is to establish connectivity from OIC with a Salesforce, with a source and the target applications. And how do you do that, guys? That is where a connections come into picture. So in OIC, I go to connections and I need to create a new connection. And whenever we create a new connection in OIC, you need to choose an adapter. And this is another major strength of OIC, guys. You have 100 plus adapters given by Oracle. You have 100 plus adapters given by Oracle. Okay, so if you search for SAP, you have an adapter. If you search for Salesforce, you have another adapters. And if you search for Oracle, you see that there are almost like 20 plus adapters, and these adapters will help you to talk to plenty of on-prem applications and the cloud applications that Oracle has. And this is what makes OIC a premier integration product. You can use it to talk to any other system that the enterprises use. You have almost 100 plus adapters, and these adapters will help enterprises talk to any application they use. Now, in this case, I will be choosing a Salesforce adapter because I need to establish connectivity from OIC with Salesforce first and then with ERP Cloud. So I pick up a Salesforce adapter and I try to create a connection. And I'll be using UG103 as your batch prefix, guys. And just in case you're thinking, yes, it is a 103rd batch that I'm doing at the moment. I'll be using UG103 as a prefix for all the components that I'm going to create for your batch. And whenever you enter a connection, yes, you give it a name, Salesforce connection, and I'm just prefixing a batch identifier. And as you type in name, you see the identifier is generated automatically. Everything will be converted to caps, and spaces are replaced with underscore. Now, when you create a connection, there is a very important option called role that you select. And this is really, really important. And there are three options for you to choose from. When you create a connection, there is a role that you have to select, and you have three options to choose from. I'll need at least half an hour to talk about this particular concept in detail. I need at least 30 minutes. And a day one session is definitely not the right time for it. And we'll do that when I do the first integration. So when we build the first REST API in OIC, I'll take you to OIC instance, and I'll talk about the significance of this role for 30 minutes in that session. The default role is trigger and invoke. You can leave it that way, and you hit the create button. Remember, guys, when you create a Salesforce connection and I hit the create button, when I go to the next screen, I'll have to enter the Salesforce username. And not just that, a creation of Salesforce connection is a little bit tricky. In the password, you have to enter a Salesforce password plus a Salesforce token as well. So we will do that. We will create the connection. When we do this actual integration use case as integration 13, remember, guys, whatever use case that I'm going to give you an overview of today, whatever use case that we're discussing it today, we will build this integration from scratch as integration 13 later on in the course. And when we do that integration build from scratch, at that time, I'll show you how to create a Salesforce connection. But just assume that it is done. Just assume that it is done. Okay, so that is the first step. You establish connectivity with with a Salesforce. Now, the next thing is you need to establish connectivity with ERP Cloud. Now, what do? I search for Oracle ERP Cloud Adapter. I pick up Oracle ERP Cloud Adapter and I say UG103 ERP connection. As I type in, name identifier is generated automatically. I leave the role as trigger and invoke, and I hit the create button. And that would take me to the next page. And in this page, I'll be able to see, depending on the adapter that you pick up when you created a connection, you see the properties change. If it is an ERP adapter, it'll ask you to enter a ERP URL. If it is an FTP adapter, it'll ask you to enter the FTP server name, host, and a port. If it is a database, you will be prompted to enter the DB details. So since it is ERP connection, it is prompting me to enter the ERP login. Now I want to create a customer. I want to create a customer in this Fusion Cloud instance. So I copy that instance URL and enter it here. So this is a Fusion Cloud instance URL that I need to interact with. And I also need to enter the username and password. I don't want to expose the password, guys, so I'll get the password, enter it, and then I'll share my screen back. I've copied the password. I'm going to enter the password here, test the connection. So what is it that I'm trying to do? I'm trying to connect to the ERP cloud application from OIC by using this connection. So I've entered the URL, username, and password. OIC would try to log into that instance with this username and password. And if it goes through, you will see the connection percentage changes to 100. And I can save the connection. And from now onwards, whenever I build integrations and when I have to, you see a confirmation. And from now onwards, whenever I have to build integrations to talk to ERP Cloud, meaning from an integration, if I have to come into Fusion Cloud and if I have to create a customer or invoice or purchase order, if I have to load the data into Fusion Cloud or extract the data from Fusion Cloud, or if I want to do any action in Fusion Cloud from OIC, I can do it using this ERP connection. Now that I have two connections, connectivity is established with a source and target connections, and you need to go ahead and build an integration flow. And how exactly would that integration looks like, guys? How exactly would that integration look like? Integration is going to look something like this. Remember, guys, we would usually be building integrations in the projects. And what exactly is the difference between projects and building integrations in design screen? I'll talk about it in tomorrow's session. But if I show you one of the very old batch integration here, okay, just give me one moment. I'll share my screen back. Well, this is exactly how I'm just showing you one of the very old batches Salesforce to ERP service. We would be building integrations for the last 50 batches I've been using projects. So yes, first of all, the integration that you build to achieve this use case would look something like this. Now, before I walk you through the integration, if I go back to this use case, guys, when I got this use case, Emerson has told me that this is what they want me to do. They would enter the customer details, hit the save button. They want the customer to be created here. I was completely new to Salesforce, guys. I don't even know ABC of it. but I had a fair bit of exposure to ERP, but I was completely new to Salesforce. And in your case, you could be new to both, or you might probably know either of these applications. But the point is, as an integration specialist, you don't need to be a master of a source and target applications that we use in the sessions, guys. That is not our job. Every application has its own functional and technical teams. Salesforce has a functional and technical team. Fusion Cloud also has a functional and technical teams. Our job is to interact with those technical and functional teams, get the required inputs, and then build your integration accordingly. Now, when I got this use case, guys, I've set up a couple of hours a meeting with a Salesforce technical team. And I've told them that, boss, this is a use case that your client wants me to achieve. And I asked them, is there a way that we can do a process automation when user hits the save button? Because I don't know. And whatever I'm going to show you in the Salesforce for the next 4 to 5 minutes, guys, this is a walkthrough that was given to me by a Salesforce technical team. In fact, I was not even given access to Salesforce application by Salesforce technical team. What they said is, yes, Prasad, we can do a process automation in Salesforce. And in fact, they have created a flow. And this is exactly how that flow would look like. And within the flow, when you create a flow, you can mention when exactly you want that flow to be triggered. So Salesforce technical team has created a process flow, and they said the flow has to be triggered whenever an account is created or updated. And from a flow, they were calling an outbound message. So when you define a flow, like trigger it whenever an account is created or updated, which means whenever you create a new account or update it, the flow will be triggered. And from a flow, we need to perform actions. And at that time, I asked a Salesforce technical team, what are the actions we can perform? These are the actions that they've shown me. Prasad, we can send out an email if you want. We can update a field in Salesforce, or we can send an outbound message. So this is exactly what we need, right? Because as and when a customer account is created or updated, if we can call an outbound message meaning we are sending a message out of Salesforce to another system. And when you create an outbound message, it will give you an option to mention which integration should be triggered. And here, this is where you're going to mention the OIC integration endpoint URL. And whatever customer details are entered on this particular screen, you can pass in all those customer details. As input here. So the flow is very simple, and all the setups were done by Salesforce technical team. As in when you enter a customer details today, hit the save button, this flow will be triggered. And from our flow, we are calling an outbound message. And from the outbound message, we are calling an integration in OIC. And so what does it mean? As soon as you hit the save button, your integration in OIC will be triggered, and you receive customer details as input. So all a client wanted me to do was, they told, Prasad, you build an integration and give me the URL of that integration. We will be calling your integration from our outbound message. Now I came into OIC instance, and I started off with integration build. And whenever you create an integration, remember guys, these are the 3 styles that you can use. I'll be talking about them in detail in tomorrow's session, guys. And the integration that I'm going to build here, after I build it, I need to activate it. A URL gets generated, and with the help of that URL, this integration should be triggered from a Salesforce application. Our integration should be triggered with the help of that endpoint URL. So since another application is going to trigger my integration, Salesforce, in this case, I'll have to use a Salesforce application style. So I created this integration using Salesforce style. Sorry, the application style as an integration. Application integration style is used to create this integration because I want to call it from a Salesforce application. And if you look at this integration, you see Salesforce is configured as a trigger and ERP is configured as an invoke in it. Now, if you open the integration, remember guys, we will be building this integration from scratch. We'll be building this integration from scratch as integration 13 later on in the course, but I'm just giving you a walkthrough of what we do in that session. When you create an integration, by default, you will see a blank screen. You see that there are a few nodes already, but when you create it in real time, choosing create a new integration using application style, you see a blank screen and you see a plus icon popping up. And you click on a plus icon and you need to choose what is it that you want to perform. Do you want to call a connection, or do you want to perform any other action, or do you want to perform any other action in the integration? Okay, so what is it that you would do? You would configure a Salesforce connection. You would be configuring a Salesforce connection, whatever Salesforce connection that you would have created earlier. You will call that Salesforce connection and you will configure that as a triggering point. So any integration you build, the first node that you have is first connection that you have in the integration is called as a trigger connection. Because because Salesforce application is going to trigger this integration with the help of this connection. So a starting point, first node in the integration is trigger. Salesforce will trigger the integration and they're going to pass in all the customer details. And after I receive a customer details here, what do I need to do, guys? I need to go to ERP Cloud. I receive the customer details and I need to go to ERP Cloud and I need to create a customer in ERP Cloud here. Now at this point, the second half of the story begins. I receive customer details, and for every customer created in ERP, the integration will be triggered. And after I receive the customer details, I need to go to ERP and create a customer here. Now, at this point, when I go to Fusion Technical Consultant, I ask them, boss, what should I do? What should I do to create a customer in ERP Cloud? What are the web services I need to call? Well, the point is, this is what Fusion Technical Consultant has told me. Prasad, it is a customer that you need to create. Remember, customer is not a transactional data. It is not like an invoice or a purchase order where you create one web service and it will create a customer in ERP. Instead, a customer is a master entity, is a master data object, is a master data, and it follows a TCA architecture. So you cannot directly create, you have a customer account service, and that would create a customer account and an account site. But you cannot directly create a customer account and an account site in Fusion Cloud. For a customer account and an account site, we need to create a party and a party site first. For that, you need to call the organization service. That would create a party and a party site. And for a party site to be created, we need to have a location registered. So the point is, whatever address is entered here with that address details, we need to register a location in ERP first. And we need to register a party and a party site by calling the organization service. And once that is done, we should call the customer account service to create a customer account and an account site in ERP. Okay, so to keep it very simple, yes, this integration should be called from a Salesforce application, as and when a customer is created, and all the customer details will be passed as input. And I should just be using ERP connection, and I will try to create a location first, party and a party site, and then I call the customer account service. Now, the point is, if you're new to ERP Cloud, you might get worried here, and you might say, Prasad, who is going to tell me all this story in real time? That to create a customer, I have to create a location first, party and a party site, and then customer account and an account site. This information will be provided to you by a Fusion functional and the technical consultants, guys. But your job as an integration specialist is to come in here. And if I have to register a location in Fusion Cloud, what do I have to do, guys? You see, these are all the ERP connections. You see the ERP connection is used thrice here. ERP connection is used thrice. So I just have to click on a plus icon. I need to choose the connection. I need to choose the connection here, UG103 connection. I'm using the connection that I've just created. And after I receive the customer details, this is exactly how you're going to build the integration. So you would say create location. And when you use ERP connection, yes, I want to create a location. So I'm going to use CRUD operations option, the first option. Go to the next screen, and here I will have to choose. Remember, when you use ERP connection and when you say you want to perform CRUD operations, create, read, update, or delete operations, you see that there are two options here. You have a SOAP services and you have REST APIs. Remember, guys, Oracle would have given a plenty of standard SOAP and REST APIs to interact with Fusion Cloud. So if I want to create a location or if I want to create an invoice or purchase order, there are a standard SOAP services and REST APIs given by Oracle. And as I say this, again, some of you might feel uncomfortable. Prasad, I'm completely new to integrations and ERP cloud, and I don't know what a SOAP service is, and I don't know what a REST API means. Again, no need to worry, guys. When in our day 3 and day 4 session, just bear with me for tomorrow's session as well. But on day 3 and day 4, we will be covering web service basics. Day 3, we'll focus on SOAP service basics. And day 4, we cover the REST API basics. And once we are done with the web service basic sessions on day 3 and day 4, you will know very well how the SOAP services work and what exactly an XSLT, WSDL, and XML means. And you would also be very much comfortable with the REST API basics as well. So even if you're completely new to ERP cloud, stay back and relax, nothing to worry. I'll be covering web service basics in day 3 and day 4, and then we get started with integrations built in OIC. Now, in this case, I'll have to choose a service. And what do I need to do, guys? After I receive the customer details from ERP Cloud, I just need to create a location in ERP, and I'm choosing that location service here. And as soon as you choose a service, you will see the operations showing up at the bottom. Similar to how you have procedures in a PL SQL package, guys. The moment you choose a SOAP service, you will be able to see operations at the bottom here. And I say create location, continue. So what is it that I'm asking OIC to do here, guys? I'm asking OIC to go to ERP Cloud and create a location there. I'm asking OIC to go to ERP and create a location there. Now, which ERP instance will it go and create a location, guys? Did we mention any details there? In which ERP Cloud instance will it create a location? That is the first thing that we did, right? When we created a connection, this is a connection that we created. And in the connection, I mentioned my ERP instance URL, username, and password. So this is like I'm asking OIC to log into ESEV instance with this username and password, and I'm asking it to create a location. Now, OIC would say, okay, Prasad, I'll very well create a location, no problem. But the moment you hit that finish button here, the moment you invoke a connection and you're asking it to create a location, OIC will say, okay, Prasad, I'll create a location, but tell me with what address details I need to create a location. So it would immediately create a mapper. It will immediately create a mapper. And in the mapper, it will ask you to enter the address details. With what address details do you want the location to be created? And if you look at the payload you received from Salesforce, you will be able to see the address details here. So all you have to do is map the payload from source to the target. Map the payload from a source to the target like this. So you might have fields received from Salesforce with a different name, but you just have to pick up a field from a source and drop it to the target. And this is one straightforward thing that you can do, like mapping a field from source to the target just by dragging and dropping like this. But there is a lot of other complicated stuff possible here. You can do complex XSLT transformations and so on. So you don't need to always assign a source attribute as is to a target. You can do a lot of transformations on them before you map it to a target. And as we progress in the course, we'll focus on them as well. But on a very high level, this is exactly how the integrations in OIC work. And this is exactly, or this is how easy it is to build integrations in OIC. And this is exactly what I did 2 more times for organization service and customer account service. And that is exactly what you see here. 3 service calls and 3 mappers. So all you have to do is build an integration. And before you build an integration, create the required connections, create an integration. And in the integration, you will use the connections to the required mappings. And that is exactly what we mean by OIC using a configuration-based approach. A zero code, guys. You just have to create the connections, come into OIC instance, click on a plus icon, and decide which action to perform, connection to call, or any other action. And it is easy to integrate applications in cloud, on-premise, or vice versa, or a hybrid as well. So meaning you can build integrations with a with on-prem applications as well using a connectivity agent. In fact, in one of the integration scenario, I'll talk in detail about the connectivity agent. And yes, a connectivity agent would help you easily integrate cloud with on-prem applications and vice versa. And you do have a process automation option available. You can build a process automation in PCS, and you can call it from VBCS. You can even call it from integrations as well. And analytics, you can ignore it. Now that brings us to what exactly OIC is. I'll take questions in a minute. I can see a couple of hands going up. What exactly OIC stands for? It stands for Oracle Integration Cloud. It is a single unified cloud service, which has 3 important components in it: integrations, VBCS, and PCS. And these 3 components offered together as a single unified cloud service in a box. And that is exactly we call as Oracle Integration Cloud. You can ignore the analytics part. And OIC is basically a platform as a service product. It is basically a platform as a service product. And every client, any client who wants to implement Fusion Cloud, any client who wants to implement Fusion Cloud, they definitely need to build at least a few integrations in OIC to go live. Okay, and that's precisely why all of you are sitting in this training session today. And yes, I'll stop here for today, guys. And tomorrow's session, I will, yes, I'll leave the remaining 5 minutes in today's session for Q&A. Tomorrow, I'm going to throw more light on how the training program works. And I'll also talk about what are the exact integration use cases we're going to cover as part of the sessions. And I'll be focusing on the integration design options that you see. When you go to integration designer screen, you see a bunch of options. How exactly these integration designer options work, I'll talk about them in detail in tomorrow's session. So you can join the tomorrow's training session as well using the same Zoom link that we have shared with you today. And tomorrow we'll cover the remaining bits. And after that, I'll talk about the enrollment process. Now, please raise your hand, guys. I'll call out the names. Only that person, please unmute, ask the question. And once your question is answered, please go back on mute and lower your hand as well so that we don't have any confusion. Yes, Santanu, please go on.
Yeah, so my question is that, so if it is trying to create the location in the mapper, but if the location already exists, then will there be any error?
You can, when you do the mapping here, there is something called as a mode that you can mention. Operation. And if you mention, in this case, I've chosen create location. But ideally you should be choosing process location operation. And when you choose process location, what would happen? You can mention a change operation here. And if you mention a change operation as merge, what would happen? If the location already exists, and if any of the attribute has changed, it would be updated. If it is a new location, then it will be created. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay,
Yes, Nagaraju.
In the OIC, is there any AI agents can use?
Very recently, Oracle has started incorporating AI agents as well. There is something called as a connectivity agent, which has been there for quite some time. AI agent has been recently introduced. It is not stable yet, but if possible, I'll try to give you a walkthrough of how those agents work in one of the sessions. if they start working by then. Okay.
Okay.
And any other questions from anyone? Thank you. Any other questions from anyone, guys? Yes, Srinidhi, go on.
This is a question about the timing. Can we move it to 7:30 to 7:30 IST? If it is
Sorry,
possible.
yeah, the
Hello?
problem is I have another session at 7 o'clock, and unfortunately we cannot move the timing. You can call us on this number to discuss it further. Okay, but we cannot change the timing because I have another one starting at 7 o'clock.
I'm just asking only if it is possible. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Lohit?
Yes, sir. Okay, this is Rohit. For some of the integrations, we have to write our own PLSQL packages, right?
The only, not for all the integrations, guys, only when you build, say, file-based integrations, like FPDA automation or HDL.
But we don't know much knowledge about that packages.
Yeah. So you would first of all have to write a PL SQL package, probably a 1 in 30 or 40 integrations. And why do you need to do it? Because when you do a file-based automations, you will be getting a file from a data source, and that file might not be in a required format that has to be sent to ERP cloud. In such cases, you would need a database layer here. You dump the file to a database, run a procedure, and then you get the validated data back in a required format and you send it to cloud. But the point is, you would have enough work as an integration specialist that clients will not want to use an expensive resource like you, because OIC developers are not cheap. They're pretty expensive when compared to PL SQL developers. So you would have a Fusion technical consultants or other people. So there would be one person identified to write all the PL SQL packages required for the integration build. Don't worry, even if you don't know PL SQL, it is absolutely fine. Even if you know PL SQL, you will not be the person writing those packages, because client would have a lot of other important integration work to do. There would be a Fusion technical or a person identified who would do all that work for you. Remember, there would be technical work involved when you build integrations in OIC. You might write PLC, you might need a PL SQL package, or you might need a BIP report, or you might need a HCM extract. You don't do it yourself. A client would assign a resource to you and they would do it for you, a technical resource, and your job as an integration specialist is only to use them.
Okay, we don't have right to this package. Right?
I'm not sure if you have heard my answer correctly. Lohit, you don't need to know PL SQL because somebody else is going to write that package for you. So even if you don't know it, don't worry about it. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions from anyone? Okay. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow, same time, same Zoom link, and I will do a second demo session.